Hello, everybody. My name is Christopher Rose, and
I'm Armando. Hi.
and we're here to do a live Q&A session about Armando and magic and whatever anybody wants to ask.
So this is going to be very casual. People will ask questions, and I'll do my best to answer.
Of course. So let's start with Instagram, because a lot of people have already submitted some questions from the last couple of days. And the first one comes from, I'm going to mispronounce this name, and I'll do my best, Gia Thong. And the question is, how long is your project from the beginning? I assume he means how many DVDs and that sort of stuff.
Oh, there's 4 DVDs.
Mm-hmm.
But we have 3 that we're releasing in one special edition.
Mm-hmm. So if you want to get a hand on the 4th DVD, which has a full interview with you and me, you can look at our special edition copies that we'll have available over the next couple of days once the project gets released.
Yeah, all the information should be on the website, right?
Yep. Just go to sansminds.com/Armando, and you'll find it all. Okay, so our next question comes from Ryan Joy, and he asks, what are your thoughts on a magic act with music and without music? That's a good question.
Well, So music, I think, I consider it as texture that you add to your show. Anything that you can add to your show, I consider it as part of your tool set of adding textures. The way you dress, the colors, the backdrop, the table. All these are things that have to do with the aesthetics, the look, and the music as well. But I like using music for adding emotional content. It's an easy way to grab people's emotions through the feeling of music when you don't always have the opportunity to do it with words. But I take my cues from, movies, and I love the way movies mix things together. They've been doing it for a long time, and so I put my shows together and in a similar way that movies do, where you mix a little talking with a little music and pay attention to the backdrop and the color scheme and the movement. And when you fill it all in, it's basically like a canvas, and this is your artwork, and you're adding as many or as little textures as you want. Space is also important too.
So I'll phrase it a little differently. Do all of your performances have music?
No.
I think that'll surprise people to know that not all of
them. There are times when you need to give space. You need to give some dynamics, and space is also part of the dynamics, which a lot of people don't consider it that way, but the space is really, really important. So I do think that music all the way through is not necessarily the most entertaining thing to do. But being able to give a flow of continuity and dynamics is really good. A mixture.
Okay. So we have a question from Rick Sunar. I think this is a really good question. How do you know if a new routine is good?
Well, when you go out and test it and people tell you if it's good, you start to get the feeling that it's pretty good. Especially if you're hearing it from people that not only you respect, but other people respect. Then you should believe it, Same goes for the other, if it's bad.
Yeah, I actually think it's harder to tell if something's bad.
It is, especially when you have this thing that happens with popularity, and it can become a fad. Through repetition, people start to like something that's bad. And then after a few years, the fad goes away, and then everybody makes fun of that time. Do you remember those days when we had that fad and
Sure.
It was a bad thing? And yeah, I agree with you. Sometimes it's hard to tell if it's bad.
For sure. Let's see. Here's another one from the same person. He asked a few questions. Rick Sunar. He asks, this is kind of a complicated one, how to use misdirection effectively into your personality. So I think there might be an English issue there. But
how to use into your personality.
I think he might be asking just some tips on using misdirection.
I'm not even sure I understand that question.
Yeah, me either. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, well,
it's sort of routine specific, right? I mean, you have to know
so
what you're performing.
I'm going to take a guess and answer the question that I think he's asking, which is, and I'll rephrase it. So if you're having to do particular moves that require misdirection, that maybe you think doesn't fit you, because this happens with students of mine, I would say that in my experience, there are things that I have done that didn't fit me. It wasn't natural to me, but I learned to make it look natural for me. And so I learned to execute it in a way to deliver it so that people thought that was me. And so eventually it became me. But I adapt it in order to make it fit into the routine because I needed it. So you might say I adapted. I learned. And then I took my cues from the audience to see if it worked. And that was basically it. Yeah.
Okay. So we have a question from Sakakami Hiroki, who's asking, what do you think is the best deck of cards?
Well, this is not a commercial, but it just so happens.
We were just talking about this.
It just so happens
30 seconds ago
that I actually like Patrick Kuhn's decks. I really do. So
this
absolutely
one
true.
In particular, this is a really good deck of cards.
Yes, and he happens to be right here, so he's laughing.
Yeah, we love Patrick, and he's helping us today. But
that's not why we're saying it.
But in all honesty,
this is really good. Yeah.
This is I was pretty impressed. That's a really good deck of cards for sure. So Black Mirage, people don't know, check it out. It's
what makes a good playing card to you? Like what kind of feel?
Yeah. Oh, I can tell you. So I find that the look is really, really important to me, but the feel is functional. It has to be functional. And I like a deck that has good printing because I don't like the white borders to be off. It's like having a marked deck. And the cut has to be really good, plus the paper. So the paper, the cut, and the printing, they all have to be good. And most cards today, they don't have good printing. And we're talking about one particular big company. And I don't care what they make.
That are typically referred to by their initials.
Yeah. But I don't care what they make, but they all produce cards that are cut badly. I'm sorry. You guys, you know who who I'm talking about. You need to sharpen your blades.
That's funny. Yeah, they're falling behind, huh?
And these cards that Patrick put out, the cut is really good. The paper's good. The feel is nice, and the print is always good. So, yeah.
Hopefully people will like your cards, too.
Yes.
Which we will be making to your specifications.
Yes.
Coming soon. Also, I should say now, too, for the people that are just joining us, Papercuts is available as a season pass only for the next 48 hours. Just go to sansminds.com/Armando, and you should be able to order that, and it gives you a small discount on the price. You get the products as digital products, and you get them about 15 days early, so it's a pretty good deal if you just want to get a hold of it fast. You don't get the 4th DVD, so for the people that want really all of the information, you should hold off and get one of our box sets or special editions. But if you just want to have it now and get a piece of Armando, then season pass is available for 48 hours. Okay, that was my company duty right there.
Yes,
to do that. Yes, of course. Okay, so this is a really good one.
So I'm hearing these questions for the first time, by the way, in case you're wondering.
Yeah, yes, that's why you're taking a minute. You got to think about it. Okay, so here's one I like. I've heard you say in an interview that you don't perform walk around. How do you perform close-up magic in a professional situation, and how do you pitch it to clients?
Oh, well, that's a very good question. Well, when I was younger, I took any job that I could because I needed the money. But after a while, I started to get really, really disappointed and depressed. I didn't know exactly what was going on. I'd ask my friends, are they happy doing birthday parties and walk around and queue lines and whatever parties they were doing, and they were fine. Um, and I ended up just quitting because I was not happy, and I went back to school for about 4 years. Said I was never going to go back to magic again. That was in my 30s, and eventually, what happened is I fell in love with magic again because I needed to make some money, and this was the fastest way for me because I knew how. And what happened was I fell in love with magic again, and I realized what my problem was. I love magic very much, no differently than somebody who's passionately in love with music, and they go to Juilliard's School of Music, and it might be their dream to do this, and then they end up working at a place like a bar where they're playing music that
Sure.
they may not enjoy. Playing music for people who are not really listening to them, playing the music they don't really like nor is challenging to them. And I realized that's what happened to me. So for me personally, and it's not for everyone, if I have to do the job that I don't like, I'd rather go and find another job that has nothing to do with magic. So I decided from then on I was only going to take the jobs that were conducive to what I felt were more artistic to what my needs were. And now if I needed to make money, if I really need to make money, then I told myself I would quit doing magic and I would find another job to make money, but I didn't want to destroy my love for magic. So this is a hard thing for most people, but for me, I'd rather not take the jobs that I felt were hurting my soul. So I stopped. And I don't advise that to everyone. That's just a personal thing for me. And so when I was younger, I played around with gimmicks. I didn't really use them. I just played around with them. When I was in the Long Beach Mystics, I used to play around with them. I never really performed with gimmicks in close-up magic. If you call illusions gimmicks, and they are, then you could say I did use gimmicks because I did illusions for quite a few years, and then I stopped and focused on close-up. I prefer doing my magic without gimmicks as a personal choice. It's not a right and wrong. So people always mistaken that when they ask
They think
me.
you're judging them.
Yeah.
For using gimmicks.
Yes. No, I think gimmicks are brilliant. I think gimmicks add a layer of deception that are phenomenal. I mean, if you have sleight of hand, a gimmick, psychology, and some preset in your favor, then this can really elevate the deception. I personally like, it's just me, I just like the challenge of being able to limit myself, and I just feel very proud of being able to do that.
You know, I think something else happened too is the term purist came into vogue when referring to people that don't use gimmicks, and I feel like that kind of created almost like a class divide. So I think there's a misconception that if you don't use gimmicks, you think people that do are not as good, but that's not the case.
No, that's not the case at all.
Yeah,
no. For
I
example,
use gimmicks. You're one of my best friends. I use gimmicks. You don't care.
And Tommy Wonder was, a friend of mine, and he used gimmicks all the time. And I got to tell you, if you're going to use a gimmick, he was a good teacher of to follow for gimmicks because the way he used them, he earned his way to the gimmick. He didn't just depend on the gimmick alone. He earned his way because there was still Tommy Wonder in that gimmick. It wasn't just him displaying a gimmick. There was a lot of thinking that went into the way he used the gimmicks.
So there's real good questions coming.
Sure.
One of them is, which magicians have inspired you?
So which magicians have inspired you?
So Rene Levon, he was very inspirational to me, and that guy did so much magic with only one hand.
Yeah.
That
Talk
was
about
amazing.
overcoming a limitation, huh?
Yes.
I mean, people complain about, saying that, again, back to the gimmick thing, like not using gimmicks. Oh, you're overcoming a limitation. You're limiting yourself. It's like, did you see what Rene Levon did?
Yes.
He was incredible.
So the irony with him is that he was forced to find ways to deal with misdirection that others were doing with two hands, and so he had to use storytelling, and this was really a beautiful thing. So I loved it, and he was able to get so much out of doing such simple techniques. Now his techniques weren't that simple. For a two-handed person, they're simple, but for a one-handed person, they were not simple at all. But he did what most people would consider simple with two hands, and got so much out of it. I loved watching his stuff. For me, he transcended magic into an art form.
So you mentioned Rene Levand, Tommy Wonder.
Yes.
Who else?
Believe it or not, I am a fan of David Copperfield. I know that some people may be surprised, but he also did.
Patrick's walking away now.
Well, he understands how to put a production together.
Yeah, I think that's the lesson from him, huh?
Yes,
is just the production value.
Yeah,
he really put something. Also, I think we may have lost connection on Facebook, but it's okay.
On Instagram, I have another question.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Let's see. Could you ask Armando about the first time that he saw Paul Vihil's A-Can? I would love to hear the story from his point of view.
Oh,
the what?
His any card at any number.
Any card at any number.
Do you remember that? That was an interesting
Vihil's.
story.
Yeah.
Paul Vihil's.
It was in his show, right?
Yes, a long time ago.
Mirage?
Mm-hmm. At the Mirage, yeah.
Yeah. I would like to comment on it, but all I remember is his entire show. I don't remember the specifics of that trick, so I couldn't give you a really good judgment on it.
Sure.
Unfortunately, because I love Paul, so I don't want to do a bad job here.
Yeah, okay.
I have another
If you
one.
get a chance to see Paul Vihil
Yes.
live, you should just do it and ask him to show you
Yes.
his A-Can routine, and then you'll be pretty blown away. It's a great.
Yes.
I don't want to spoil it because there's some
I do remember
there's some
it.
unique things about it. I don't want to ruin it for people that haven't seen it.
But when I watch a show, I watch it like a spectator, not like a magician. And so I feel like, I wouldn't be doing a good job right now if I answered that question.
Fair enough. So one came in from the cafe last night that I want to make sure I ask. Super simple. What's your favorite trick?
Huh.
Not so simple.
That is not simple. So I don't really necessarily have a favorite trick. And people ask me, what's your favorite food? What's your favorite color? Maybe I'm odd, but I don't have favorite things like favorite cat, favorite dog, favorite. In my entire life, I rarely have favorites. So when you answer those questions, like for bank questions, you answer favorite questions.
Yeah.
I can never answer
sure.
them. So I can tell you this though, I do have effects that I tend to favor over others at times. And I do like thought of effects, and I like transpositions. A transposition contains so much magic in just that effect. It's not just about a transposition; it's a vanish, it's a production, it's multiple methods. It's just amazing. So
it just
there
goes back to texture. It's like
texture. Yeah,
tricks that have good texture, tricks that have good methods.
Well, they give me an opportunity to display so much. So I don't necessarily have favorite effects, but I do lean towards some, and it depends on the day and how I feel. I might like one more than the other in that day.
I think we've got some more coming in. What's up?
Yeah, this one's from Dennis. He says, I was wondering why release Papercuts now?
That's a good question. So why did you do this?
So after many years, I have done my best to preserve the secrets as best I can, not just for me, but for everyone. And when somebody publishes something, they're not just publishing their effects. They're publishing anything tangentially related to their effects, which means they're publishing everyone else's effects too.
Sure.
So everyone thinks that I'm concerned about my stuff, but I'm concerned about all magic. And I care more about the preserving the power of the secret than I do about just putting my name out there. And I met some really wonderful magicians who are, from, they live in different corners of the world that nobody even knows about.
Sure.
And they come up with ideas, and they're very unique. And then 20 years later, I find out that a 16-year-old kid just published it on, some platform.
And they're convinced. That
And
they
they're
thought of
convinced
it.
they're the only ones that
Yeah,
came up with
sure.
it. And I find that many people think that, but actually, there are many people out there who come up with ideas.
Ooh.
Are we okay?
Yes, sorry.
All right. Should I go on?
Yes, of course. So, also, I'm being told that I should mention something which we haven't mentioned yet, which is, of course, the people that are tuning in right now, we are doing a giveaway of Season Pass. So, actually, 3 Season Passes to your project. So, people stay tuned until the end. We'll tell them how they can participate in that.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, business things. I had to
Yeah,
do,
yeah,
had
all
to do
right.
the business thing.
Well, to get back down to the question, because I haven't finished.
Yes, of course.
answering
Yeah,
the
why?
question.
So, why release Papercuts?
So, it concerned me that all of these, all this information is being released, and we're having a little bit of distraction there, so it's
No, it's okay.
affecting me. But all these things are being released, and we now have media, YouTube, that has been both a good thing and a bad thing. The problem for me is that there are so many people now that are living with the idea that it's okay to share everything with everybody and anyone. And I personally don't agree with that, because not everyone wants it, nor have they earned the right to it, so they can't really respect and appreciate it so much when it's so easy to grab. And everybody's just posting and releasing stuff, and I can't do anything about it. It's a decision that they make, for right or wrong. That's their personal choice. But now all this information is being released out into the internet, and it's got internet permanence. It's going to be out there forever as long as we have the technology. So what can I do? Well, I can't stop it, and
A lot of positive responses to that
yeah,
one.
I can't stop it. And this DVD is not being made because I was thinking money. That's not it. I was doing it because after all these years, all this information is being shared, including my stuff, but everybody's information. And I wasn't happy about it. So I thought, with all of this stuff being put out there, and usually done by people who are not that respectful for the art, they just want to show off. I thought, well, why not give a different point of view and maybe try and affect people with a different view of presentation. So I decided to release things that were already out there by others. That way I don't destroy anything that is still still a secret for a lot of people. But I am putting out things that people are already aware of. They're already out there. They're floating around. I'm not doing any damage. The damage is already done as far as I'm concerned.
I should step in and clarify here just a little bit, just because, there's been some comments on the cafe about people asking about this exact thing.
Okay.
If it's all out there, why are you doing it? Well, what you mean by out there is not what most people mean by
okay.
out
Go
there.
ahead.
I mean, yeah, the ideas that are in this project, these are not things that are easy to find, but they are things that exist, and they are things that people have either taken or reproduced or changed or something, but all of it is your unique take on
Well, it's
these
my
concepts.
take. It's
Yeah,
just
of course.
it's my perspective on how to deliver the information, but using the techniques and tools that are already out there. So that is, the only problem that I have with doing this is that I've boxed myself in to give the things that are already out there. What people don't know is that my world is bigger than that.
Of course.
So I hope that they don't think it's just limited to this.
No, but I mean, realistically, this is the first level that you would recommend before somebody took up one of your private workshops.
Well, yeah.
Yes. People that are beginners that know very little about magic. This is the material that you would teach them. Some of it is not. I mean, I don't personally think that any of these routines are very easy. I mean, I'm on there with you, learning them as you're teaching them.
Yeah, I understand.
None of this stuff is easy to do.
That's true. Yeah, this is not like one of those sales pitches where you two can do this in 2 minutes.
No,
This
you
is
can't.
not
I'm
it.
sorry.
You
No.
have to earn your way to it. But you know what? I believe that if you do earn your way to it, then you'll feel prouder for having done it, because you'll find that you put yourself into it. You know, and
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And he says, for you, what is the ultimate goal for a magician?
Wow. What is the ultimate goal for a magician? That is a great question.
I would like to have people not consider what I do as tricks, and transcend that to magic, and transcend magic to art, and transcend that to something even bigger, which is being able to reach humanity. That's my goal. And if people can be, if I can touch people's hearts and affect their lives deeply, then I have done my goal. Yeah. I can talk more about it, but that's pretty simple, I think.
Sure. Here's another one from Kevin Capinos on Instagram. Will the empanada be on the videos?
No, but there is a
But
very much simpler version that is a thought of card. Yes.
yes, a thought of sandwich card
Yes.
trick similar to the empanada and aptly named taco
Yes.
is on the DVD.
Yes.
But of course, your workshop material is not.
No.
Actually, it's on the first volume, right?
It's actually on the first volume, yeah.
Which will
So
be
the
released
people,
in 2 days.
yeah. So the people that have season pass, you guys can watch it in literally 2 days, and you can judge for yourself.
Yeah. And sorry, I haven't been looking at the camera because those.
No,
are
it's okay.
your
There's a
guys,
bunch
yeah.
of cameras around. We don't know what's going on. This is all so sudden. Oh, more.
Yeah, we can keep going.
Yeah, sure.
So, Ro K asks, why cards? So, why
Yeah,
did
why
you
cards?
choose cards as your medium?
Well, it's cheap. It's easy. I'm not kidding. And
funny.
and in the size, and what I learned is that the size doesn't matter. And the
Armando, there's a lot of people watching.
I think it's so hot right now.
No.
what? Why are you
The
laughing?
size doesn't matter. No, sorry. We're just.
Oh, I didn't even realize I said a joke.
Of course.
No, but you know, it's accessible. It's easy to carry, and really, you have an opportunity to do so many combinations of things with
Yeah, it's
a deck of
limitless.
cards. It's so amazing. People ask me, "Well, doesn't it get boring doing card tricks for an hour?" You know what? No, if you know how to deliver it. So I can just tell you right away, if you want to deliver magic with a deck of cards for an hour, it is possible, but you need to deliver it by giving people breaks, because people usually get tired of repetition, and that's how we're built. So,
Right. And you know what? This isn't a sales. This is not a sales pitch, but this was something that we thought about. So I'm going to say it. You could do an hour worth of the material that's being taught on Papercuts.
yeah, yeah.
Like easily. I
Yes.
mean, it's. I mean, you get a
It's
full
performance ready.
Yeah, you get a full script, all the techniques, everything that you. I mean, you could literally do it word for word in an hour.
I wouldn't
And
advise them doing
I
it. for
wouldn't
word
advise
for
it,
word.
but theoretically,
Yes.
you could. If you know nothing about magic, you could master this material, take the script, and actually do an hour-long show.
Yes.
And it would be a good show. It would not be a boring card show. It would be a magic show that happens to use cards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying. Not a sales pitch. Just telling you the truth.
Well, you know, unfortunately, close-up magic has gotten a bad rap as being like considered the warm-up before the big illusion show. I see it happen all the time. There's a lot of shows at theaters that have opened up all around the world. Not very many, but a few. And I've often found that close-up magic is the starter magic before the main show. Even at the Magic Castle, I'm sorry, but you know the close-up show is only 20 minutes, and the stage show is about an hour.
That's not fair.
Well, what's going on? So,
Yeah, what are you telling people by
close-up
that?
magic is relegated, and probably because of the situation with being able to
Yeah.
put as many people in the seats to
Sure.
get the money. So it's a money thing, you know. So I understand what the theaters are doing. They're following the money, but that is not really the value of close-up magic. Usually when people watch close-up magic, they think it's as important or more important, depending on who's performing it, than any other show they've ever seen. I would compare a good performer doing close-up magic to any performer of any kind, not just magic. And, you know, it's gotten a bad rap, but really, if you, I aim to perform theatrically. And if you perform it right, your magic can be memorable as any performer in the world. Any performer.
Yeah.
And the size doesn't matter. You know, you can, the power that a coin, one coin, and the right delivery with that coin to do magic has the same power as, well, what David Copperfield did with the Statue of Liberty when it, you know, made big news. There's no difference. So it's how you deliver
You
it.
just have to believe there's no difference. If you're taught that
But
if you're taught there's a difference,
That's true.
you don't look
yeah,
at it
yeah,
that way.
That's true. Yeah.
You have to really think about it and
Well, yeah,
realize that there's not a difference.
we limit ourselves by the way we think, and these words are powerful. If we tell ourselves that we're just doing little tricks, and that's all you're ever going to do.
Mm-hmm.
This question is a little bit similar to one we had before.
Sure.
But we'll ask it. It's from Jan on Instagram. He says, "Why are you deciding to share with the magic community at large today?"
Oh,
Today, today, or what do you mean? Today, as in the DVD and
yeah, or
whole
the
thing?
Q&A, or
We
Yeah.
aren't sure.
oh, all right.
I
Well,
think he meant like the
Oh,
piece, like why
it-
you're
oh.
sharing that.
Just a metaphor. Okay.
Sure.
I think we kind of.
Well, I think I answered that.
Yeah.
The time has come where if I don't share now, if I do nothing, then it's far worse right now, because so far all the information is dissipating, not just my information, everybody's information is dissipating all around the world. And there are more of the kind of people that are just sharing without any conscientious consideration.
Yeah, of the impact.
Yeah, we have. It's like giving candy to children without any temperance to know how much candy to take, and there's no responsibility. And so I feel like I want to share a different way of dealing with it, because it's being spread so much in this way, and I would like to offer another way. And hopefully, even though I'm sharing information that everyone else is sharing, I have my way of presentation that I hope affects others, that it can be elevated beyond just doing tricks.
For sure.
That's why I'm doing it. If I do nothing, it's far worse now. I've waited too long already.
How has studying philosophy influenced your magic?
Wow. Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
That's the whole
That's
answer.
a really big question, but yes, a lot.
A lot.
Well, I can tell you, for example, Joseph Campbell is a mythologist and slash philosopher. He changed the way I think about life in general, but he also affected me about the way I teach too. And I realized that I can pass on information in a way that is more personal. He said that you can always trace the downfall of a society by its lack of mythology. I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the exact words. And
about right.
I realized that, you know, our culture of magic, our community, is like that. And without, we have a lack of rites of passage in our community. And I think that if we can add more of that, then it will make our community stronger. So it's influenced me in that way. That's how I do my workshops. I run it that way. I was heavily influenced by Joseph Campbell.
Me too.
Yeah.
What I mean, people, if you guys don't know who Joseph Campbell is, I mean, Google it.
Yes.
Watch some YouTube videos. You'll be pretty blown away. It's not magic, but it is magic.
No, it's not. Yeah. And well, there's philosophy is a mixture of science too. Although nowadays there are some scientists that are saying philosophy has nothing to do with science, but I don't believe that.
I know.
I don't understand that.
That's another conversation.
Yeah, I mean, Isaac Newton called his book Philosophia, so like
Right.
he's a philosopher.
Insane.
All scientists were philosophers. For me, philosophy is this big, and science is inside philosophy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's
Anyway.
take some questions from Facebook.
Yeah, we got a
yeah.
couple actually.
Yeah.
So the first one here comes from Jonathan Allwood. I'll ask these both together because he has two questions.
Okay.
The first one is, what do you think that each magician needs to know about? And the second one is, name 15 magicians that all magicians need to learn from.
15's a lot.
That's a lot for
That's a
me,
lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just 3.
Just
three.
three.
How about
Yeah, 3 is good. Magicians that people should learn from. What do you think?
Well, you know, there's a funny thing that happens to me every time somebody asks me a question where I have to remember things. I go blank. I do. I do.
Hold on. I actually I like his first question a little more. What are some things that you think all magicians should know about?
So everybody seems to start out being fascinated by tricks, and then they forget about their personal being. And I would say if you're going to learn to do magic, don't forget to learn how to be a human being. You know, I think that's really important, especially if you are wanting to be a great magician, a powerful performer. Where are you going to get that power from if you don't really learn how to be strong inside? It comes from within, and then it shows. Now you can fake it. You can put a mask on, but then you spend your whole life taking care of that mask, and it's not you. And when you take it off and walk around, you're still the unrefined human being because you never worked on it. You're the guy that's only cleaning up the mask and making the mask look good. You're not the guy that's fixing yourself. But if you work on yourself, you don't need a mask. You know. So there are. This is just a thought experiment. Imagine these two people. They're young kids and they're really fascinated by magic. And one of them wants to be just like his heroes. So he puts on several of his heroes' masks. He puts on whoever it is that he really admires. And he goes out and performs. And he does pretty good. But it's not him. So then one day he says, well, I'm going to be myself. So he takes off the mask. He goes out and performs. And, well, he's not very good. He fails. And the audience hates him. So what does he do? He has two choices. He can either improve himself or he can rely on the mask. He puts the mask back on. And he spends the rest of his life wearing masks. Then you have another kid. He takes the mask off. And people don't like him. And he says, well, let me fix that. So he goes to school, he studies, he learns how to be better at whatever he needs, he learns to speak better, he dresses better, he becomes more aware, he studies philosophy, he does whatever he has to do to make himself better and appear better for all these people. Now he has no mask. He starts to improve. The audience loves him. They love him, not the mask. Now you tell me which is better. So you can do well wearing a mask, but it's not you. Or you can work on yourself, and then when you take them, you have no mask, so you're that person all the time. So this is, for me, a lifelong goal that will help you throughout life. It's not just for your shows.
Jumping back to Instagram, A New Reality asks, what type of magic gets the greatest reactions in your opinion?
You know, that's a tricky question. It depends on the delivery of every piece of magic. There's a lot of if you take a particular theme and a piece of magic that maybe wasn't doing very well, in other people's hands. But in your hands, you can deliver it very well. Does that make it a better trick than all the other tricks? No, it makes it a better trick just for you because it fits you. I remember, for example, Harry Anderson had that trick where he did the needle through the arm.
Sure.
All right. Now
Great trick.
everybody remembers it when he was doing it well on TV, right? Well, I happened to talk to some comedians that remember him working on that trick. And they told me some interesting stories. And I don't know if Harry's out there, but I don't think he'd mind.
We'll send him the recording.
And they told me, yeah, we saw that guy working on that trick. He'd bombed so many times, over and over, and we told him to quit, And that's the story I heard from the guys who worked with him, and they just didn't see any vision in it, nothing. They couldn't see the end, but he never quit. So it's hard to answer that question. I would say that just because something works for somebody else doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you, and vice versa. I think you need to follow your vision and take it all the way to the end to know if it fails or succeeds. And on the way, be careful to listen when you're listening to Dream Busters, because they will tell you things.
Dream Busters.
Yeah, they will tell you things that will disappoint you. It's happened to me. And you might veer off your direction and not follow your dream because they said some really smart, clever things that made sense to you, and then you dropped everything. I would say don't. I remember Tesla. We have alternating current because of Tesla. And he went to Edison with his new invention, and Edison didn't understand it, so he had him just working in his place and gave him a job and felt sorry for him. And Tesla couldn't convince him that this stuff worked. So he ended up quitting. Now imagine if Edison listened to his hero and stopped alternating current. We wouldn't have it today. So I would say follow your vision to the end until you know if it's a success or a failure.
We wouldn't even be doing this broadcast.
No.
Which, speaking of which, I should remind everybody, the people that are watching, that there's 48 hours remaining to purchase a season pass of Papercuts.
The commercial.
Yep, this is the commercial. You know it. There's 48 hours remaining to purchase a season pass of Papercuts. You just go to sansminds.com/Armando.
Yes, I forget about the business part. Yeah.
No, it's okay. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here to remind you. And I think, how much time do we have left, guys?
22 minutes.
Oh, okay. Good. All right. So we'll save the giveaways until the end.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're gonna decide who gets the giveaway. Who gets the?
I am.
Random. It'll be
pressure.
random. No,
Okay.
it'll be random. That's what we have the cards for. You'll see.
All right.
You'll see. So stick around. Also, we should say one more thing too. Just want to thank everybody that's behind the camera. We have Patrick Kuhn, who we love and sell a lot of his stuff, and he's great. And if you don't know him, you should look him up. Instagram, Facebook, Patrick Kuhn. We also have our friend Burke Arete, who does a lot for the company and is keeping everything running, does more than I can even list. And of course, our friend Alan Abbott, who's here helping us filter through questions and get everything going. It's always great to have community support. Just want to make sure we say that on the air.
Okay.
And what's the next question?
Instagram, ZZY Chris asks, what do you think about the card tricks that have heavy settings or stacks?
Oh,
Preset, I think he means.
Presets. I think presets are wonderful. If you're talking about presets, I think they're wonderful. If he's talking about, as if it's a gimmick, I still think it's wonderful. Either way, they're both good. As I said before, I have no problem with gimmick decks, and if a set is considered a gimmick deck, I would say there's no problem with it. But a preset is really, really a beautiful thing to use in a piece of magic because you can have something preset. It's hard to back engineer that it was preset. So I would say if you're able to push all your setup to the front and all your cleanup to the back, at the end, and this way you keep your effect clean and pure, and it's very hard for them to back engineer what they have no way to see.
You know, I was going to say, you've kind of found a lot of the balance between those two. I mean, in many of the routines that are taught also, there is a setup, but it happens in front of them.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so I found ways to do my presets. After I'm finishing one routine, I'm already presetting for the next one, and it's all invisible. So in a way, I do that. And by the time I start the next effect, they have forgotten everything that just happened. So it does feel like a preset to me. It actually is a preset, but
well, it is.
It's happening,
you're presetting a phase,
and it's happening right in front of them, under their noses, without them actually suspecting that I'm presetting it all.
Do you think that? So I have a question. Do you think that tricks where you begin with an unprepared prop? I mean, do you think that that's ideal? I hand you a deck of cards, and there's nothing. You're not prepared in any way other than the cards are there, and you have the urge to perform.
Well, I do a lot of that. Yeah.
Well, I know. My question is, do you think that that is ideal versus something that absolutely requires a setup? Or are they the same? Are they different?
I think it depends on how free you want to be. I mean, I don't think that there's a right and wrong answer to that. For example, somebody said, so, you know, you do a lot of magic on the table. Don't you find that limiting? I said, well, I can do both.
Sure.
So how is that limiting? You know, you use a mat, use theatrics. Isn't that limiting? Well, if you think having a theatrical environment is limiting, I guess so. If you just want to work on the street, I guess for you it is limiting. It depends on what you're aiming for. I mean,
start with the goal in mind.
Yeah. So if you're David Copperfield and you ask him, so show me some of your magic that you do on stage right now. Is he limited? You know, it depends on what your aim is.
It's a good point.
If you're a guy that works with birds and somebody says, pull a bird out right now, you know, are you limited?
I think that's a good point. I mean, Copperfield can't go to a dinner party and do. Maybe he could, but he can't do 30 minutes of his actual show.
Yes.
For someone on the spot, but you could.
I could, but
you're not going to, but you could.
Yeah. So it depends on what limits you put on yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's a bad or a good thing. It's your choice. You know, I preferred performing for adults, but I have friends that perform for children, and they're really fantastic at it. Are they limited because they're only doing children's shows?
Right.
No.
Well, sometimes a limit is a good thing. I mean, you just mentioned dove magic, and we have Alan here, who's a brilliant dove magician. You know, but the limit. I mean, at least when you and I have talked about it, I mean, the limit is part of what makes it fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that you can only do it in this context, which is why it's special.
Well, there's an old saying, art thrives on limitations. And I think that's a beautiful thing because I know that when I was younger, I was in love with everything. I was just like all over the place, you know. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I just limited myself to like doing 2 or 3 things that I started to get better. Because then I had focus. And by not having any choices, I actually made better choices, you know. So I having such few choices allowed me to focus. And I learned so much by just focusing on just a few things. And then I was able to go from doing three tricks to creating a show out of 3 tricks. And then piecing those 3 with another 3, with another 3. And then I had 9 things. And now I had an entire show.
Right. And now at this point, I think you have more material than you could ever choose from.
Yeah, so
it's hard.
So it was very helpful to limit myself, yeah.
More.
Yeah.
So I'm being told that we are running low on time, so I think it's now time for a couple of giveaways.
Oh.
So here's how we'll do this. You can take out a deck of cards and spread them out. And let's do Facebook first, right? And then whatever card you happen to pick out of there. Oh no, turn them face down so it's fair, right?
I should make some.
Yeah, of course. Whatever card you pick out of there will count down the comments, and whatever person happened to be that comment number, they'll get a free season pass. Take one. That's not me, man.
Okay.
What is it? Let's see. All right, it's a 7. So who is our 7th comment on Facebook?
Jonathan Allwood.
Jonathan Allwood, congratulations. We please send a message to Sansminds. Our Facebook page. Just go to the Facebook page and send us a message and say that you want our thing, and we'll make sure that you get your season pass.
All right.
Awesome. Yeah, that'll be fun. Good for him, huh?
Just for asking a question.
Just for coming and hanging out with us, and then one more for Instagram. I'm sure those guys are going to go crazy.
I'll do a double
Just
lift.
count from the bottom.
Yeah.
From the bottom up, so we know that they're alive and watching right now.
Yeah, of course. From the bottom up, yeah. And it's a 4. So, from the bottom up.
Alfred 131.
Alfred 131, congratulations. Once again, just send us a message on our Instagram on Sansminds, and we will be sure to get that out to you. And then as for the third one, we're going to upload this video on YouTube, so if people want to comment and share and all that kind of stuff on YouTube, once it's online, we will, let's see, I guess it'll be, are we going to reveal it now?
No.
No, we won't reveal it now. But okay, so we know which number which number is going to get the free one on YouTube, but we won't reveal it now since that's not happening yet.
It's like a magic trick.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. You didn't know we were going to do this?
No.
With these beautiful Patrick Kuhn Visa cards. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming to do this, Armando. This was really, really cool, and I hope everybody had some great answers to their questions and that they're excited about the project. There's only 2 days left to get a season pass, and then after that we'll have all the DVDs and everything available, and it'll be really fun. But thanks for hanging out.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.